For most 40-year-old men out there, it would be a source of great shame if they had to keep on begging their father and their grandmother for money. But not Harry. An LA source has reported that Meghan's husband swore at his father after the king snubbed him for money demands. The source said, "I wouldn't be surprised by Harry's brat ways at all. I doubt he heard the word no very much growing up." He shouted into the phone after hearing bad news from the UK. In a way, this all sounds pretty familiar though, because it does happen in other families all over the place. The weary grandmother doesn't want to be a part of the conflict, and the father says, "No, I'm not a bank, no more money." And then the son swears and hangs up the phone. It seems like Harry is totally oblivious to the fact though that you cannot mistreat people and then expect a lot of favors. Harry is so obsessed with himself, it's pathetic. He is pitiful, a nearly 40-year-old man still asking his father for money. That ginger dum-dum has no self-respect, he has no dignity, and clearly he has no sense of shame. The fact that Charles still insists on having the ungrateful, avaricious creature at a state event just shows how little respect Charles has for his people. I do feel bad for the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, having to put up with that idiot at such a serious event. Somebody needs to firmly inform Charles that the coronation is not about him. It is about the prestige and status of Britain on the international stage. That is what it's about. But luckily, we already know Charles told Harry that he was not a bank. That happened when the interviewer was asking Harry about his home in California. And now Harry's angry that his older brother has a billion-pound Duchy of Cornwall, but it is all his, and it was set up that way. It was set up for the heir and his or her children. Harry did benefit when Charles was the heir, so he cannot whine about the status now. Charles has 3 siblings after all, and they didn't whine because they didn't get any money. Meghan and Harry also really need to rein in their spending. They waste their money on ridiculous things all the time. Her wardrobe, for example. It is not curated to work for her, that is for sure. And then what about that McMansion they're living in? People call it the Olive Garden, and you know what? I find that hilarious, because to me it does look a lot like Olive Garden. And also, why in the world did they need a mansion immediately? They could have easily bought a more modest house in a less expensive area and still had all the amenities they wanted. They could have had security. There is no real proof that they're being hassled by hordes of paparazzi either. Unless they call them up, that is. And private jets. I mean, surely they have got to pay a lot of money to fly in luxury. And what about polo? Polo is a very expensive sport. Unless Nacho has been footing the bill, Harry has had to pay for those ponies and whatever else. And you know what? That reminds me, I haven't heard a lot about Nacho these days. Where has he been? Nacho probably has done what everybody else has done and just tried to distance himself from Harry, and I'm not surprised after Meghan's attempt at presenting the polo team award. She just shoved her way in as usual, and apparently she said something ugly about his wife. I had heard that Harry was mooching off Nacho when it came to ponies and other polo-related things. Meghan was always getting in the way. She always had to be the center of attention, so I'm sure that got pretty old pretty quickly. And on another update, there is still no response, of course, from the Montecito malcontents regarding their attendance at the coronation. My opinion on the situation is that Meghan has not been invited. I think it was just Harry. A spokesperson for the Montecito malcontents said, "I can confirm the Duke has recently received an email correspondence from His Majesty's office regarding the coronation, but there was no mention whatsoever of Meghan the Duchess, and no mention of an official invitation for the both of them." There have been so many stories in the media about their ridiculous demands for attending, knowing these demands are never going to happen. So are these stories being planted by Meghan to give her a way out, so that she can somehow save face? I am sure that in the coming days we're going to hear the excuse for Meghan not coming. I'm guessing her excuse will have something to do with Archofficial. You know what, she can say whatever she wants to as long as she stays far, far away. There's something that I've been noticing recently. It seems like both Meghan and Harry have some really poor hygiene. Meghan always looks way sweaty, and she's got that greasy hair that looks like she hasn't combed it in at least a month. She's got oily skin, and she has smeared uneven makeup, and she's even got sweat stains under her arms. Now, alright, I'll be the first to admit that sometimes I look a little sweaty if it's hot outside, but still, my job is not to look good. Both of them always look disheveled and their clothes never fit right. They always look like they just rolled out of bed or got back from some kind of all-night party, put on different clothes, and began their new day. But anyway, that was just a little side note. Back to the issue at hand. Meghan and Harry, if they do indeed come to the coronation, are only going to show what hypocrites they really are. They have to realize they are going to be booed. The bells are not going to be loud enough to muffle the sound this go around. They are narcissistic, they are vile, they're delusional, and they're arrogant. They are so fake too. They've got no sense of loyalty, and they don't even know the difference between right and wrong. They don't have any place whatsoever at the coronation after their horrible behavior towards the family on both sides and the monarchy as a whole. But unfortunately, their bosses at Netflix really need the video they were promised when they paid millions of dollars to the desultory duo. And the gruesome twosome do need the money from the contract so that they can pay for their ridiculously expensive lifestyle in Southern California, including Meghan's ill-fitting designer wardrobe, the cost of Harry's polo habit, and let's not forget about the donations they make to buy awards like that Ripple of Hope award. Meghan and Harry didn't provide any content whatsoever until last December, so could it have possibly been enough for the amount of money they were paid? I doubt it. And then you have some really pissed off top dogs that learned that the tell-all mockumentary simply did not include information that was in the book, so the mockumentary and the book lacked a lot of information from the interviews too. The mockumentary, the book, and the interview simply did not have all the details either because Harry supposedly has enough for another book, and then Meghan claims that she's got enough for at least a book or two. If they were paying top dollar for content, I mean, are they going to be happy to hear that they did not even receive a third of what they were wanting? And the most important thing to Meghan, of course, is the balcony appearance. In her opinion, that is the most important demand, and when that was finally and fully refused, I don't believe she's going to have any other reason to come to the coronation. I don't believe that her invisible kids were ever really important except as leverage. Wearing a tiara was for a fashion statement only, but she needed to get herself on that balcony after the coronation. That was everything to her. Of course, because Meghan needs to show that she still has connections to the royal family, because then she can sell that connection to Netflix. Meghan does not have anything else they're interested in. So maybe it's going to just be Harry who attends after all, but he's not going to get to stand on the balcony either, just like Prince Andrew won't get to be there. Harry and Meghan were also refused balcony appearances at the Jubilee, but they still came and they managed to stick their ugly mugs uninvited in photos of royal grandkids and great-grandkids. I hope that Harry and Meghan can finally do the right thing and just stay far away from the coronation. And it's not only the fact that most of us don't like him. Harry and Meghan's presence is now a big security risk and threatens the lives of the royals, the palace staff, and citizens of the UK too, because of Harry's stupid claim that he killed so many Afghans and that he treated them like chess pieces. And even though it's probably not even true that Harry killed all those Taliban people, still, the Taliban have sworn to get revenge on him and they don't really care about who gets caught in the crossfire. If I were Harry, I would just stay home, and after all the implications that he has allowed and participated in to damage his family, it's just the next notch of Meghan trying to isolate him from everybody. He is dumb, and he is so self-indulgent, and he's so incredibly bitter. He is blaming the wrong people, and he's really destroying his own roots. And you, what do you think about Harry and Meghan coming to the coronation? Please share with me your opinion below in the comments section. If you think my video is useful, don't be afraid to like and share it with anyone